This is a debate that must be settled. EcoBoost versus Mustang GTs. So this happens to be my personal 2016 Mustang Ecoboost. And, you know, I've gotten a lot of hate while having it, but the people that hate are mostly people that don't have cars, so I don't care. This thing is better than you might think. I made an entire kind of my thoughts video on the EcoBoost, and if they're really worth the money, so you can check that out if you'd like to. But this one's going to be more of a which one is genuinely better. Now, it's easy to just jump straight to the GT and say the GT's better, but that thing costs over $10,000 more. Is it really worth that extra money? That's the question. So on the 15 to 17 years, the only difference between the EcoBoost and the GTs are, well, no badge on the EcoBoost, and in the back, if I can kind of hide the license plate here, you get a horse, whereas on the GTs you'd have a GT badge, and then on the 6 cylinders you have a little 2-stripe going down the horse. Other than that though, not much of a difference between the two cars. On the 18 model years and later, you have little towers, whatever you call them, going down the grill. And other than that, you can't really tell the difference between an EcoBoost and a GT. The badges, and then if you get an 18 or later, the little difference in the grill. So all in all though, for an EcoBoost, this exterior design is absolutely beautiful. It's a bit windy outside. I hope that wasn't too bad on audio. But let's jump in this thing and let's start the video off with a hard pull in the EcoBoost really quick. And then we're going to talk about everything you need to know when considering what's better, an EcoBoost or a GT. And that question is a little bit more complicated than you might think, and I'm going to tell you why. Let's start with the pull first though. Let's do a rolling 20-mile-an-hour first gear pull. Ready? Hey man, it's pretty fast. You can't argue that it's not fast. This one does have a 93 octane tune on it, so it makes around 340 to 360 horsepower, somewhere in that range. I haven't actually dynoed it, but I mean, this thing moves. Okay, I have driven this car, 2016 EcoBoost. I've driven the brand new 2022 Mustang 2024 Mustang EcoBoost. I've driven the 2024 GT. I've driven 2 2017 Mustang GTs. I've ridden in a 2015 with very, very loud exhaust. And I think that's about it. Needless to say, and I've done the GT350, but that's not really in this discussion. GT350 is just superior. So I have driven enough Mustangs to kind of really have an idea of, well, all the values, everything they have to offer, the prices, the performance, all of that. So let me first start with a quick little story. When I got this car kind of early on, and I was like, always putting V8s on a pedestal. Like, I dream of the day I can even touch a V8, just lay a finger on one. And eventually I met a friend who had a 2015 Mustang GT, and I just said, please man, take me for a ride in this thing. And so he let me, and we went for a drive, and I was like, well, he didn't really ever floor it, which is one interesting thing. But hey, I understand. It's your car. Do literally whatever you want with it. If you want to respect it a lot, do that. But I buy a sports car to have fun with it. But I was like, okay, I gotta drive one. So I went to a Ford dealership and I test drove a 2017 Mustang GT, and it was in blue. I could probably pop a picture of it right on the screen. And I was so excited to get in that thing. But then I got in it, and it was the most disappointing experience ever. This car felt literally just as fast as that. Yes, just as fast as a Mustang GT. The sound was horrible. That is why in 2018 they put a quad tip exhaust, and they put a new exhaust on the GTs, because that was unbelievably disappointing with the sound that you get on the 15 to 17 Mustang GTs. So that was one of my worst experiences ever. I was like idolizing this car, then I like met my idol, and I was like, holy crap, I would rather have this car, because it felt just as fast to me. The sound was nothing different really at all. I really do mean that. It was not different at all. So point is, if you're gonna go with a 15 to 17 GT, you literally are forced to put an aftermarket exhaust on it. That's just the truth. If you don't, you're not going to get a V8 sound, like literally at all. seriously, go and test drive one, and you'll see what I mean. If you get an 18 or later, yes, now we're talking some good sounds, and the 2024 Mustang GT sounds amazing. But if we're looking, so first, let's start with the 15 to 17s. I would argue immediately that the EcoBoost is better because you save all that money. The 5.0s are actually a little bit more reliable than the EcoBoost, so that is one thing to consider. But it's not $10,000 to $12,000 more reliable. So if you count up all the repair costs, even if you got super unlucky or tore the crap out of an EcoBoost, you're still not doling out as much as you would on a Mustang GT. I don't know what is going on here. Average Mustang EcoBoost repair site. I'm just kidding. They're not that bad. I've had one major issue with the EcoBoost, and that's just a cracked cylinder head at 40,000 miles, but it's been tuned the entire lifespan of the car, and I've abused the crap out of it. So I give it some leeway there. But 15 to 17, the speed is literally the same if you tune the, okay, sorry. If you do not tune the EcoBoost, the GT will feel faster. I will say that. But a simple $400 tune that takes 15 seconds to install, why would you not do that? Really, why would you not do that? It didn't even void my warranty. So, I don't know, that seems like a no-brainer to me. But yeah, stock, okay, sure. It'll be a little, just, it's not gonna be noticeable enough. That's my main problem. It's not $10,000 noticeable. You get the same automatic transmission. If you get a manual, you get the same manual transmission. You get the same exterior design except for the badges. And that's it. There's nothing different in the interior or anything. So 15 to 17, with that price difference, I'm going all the way with an EcoBoost, unless you're somebody that's gonna put an aftermarket exhaust on the GT, or you really wanna modify your car. But stock for stock, EcoBoost wins 15 to 17. Now, after that, 18 to 23, we're talking 10-speed automatics now. And I will say, well, after 2018, the red line actually got extended to, I believe, 7250 RPM in the GTs. That makes a massive, massive difference. Revving that V8 higher out with an upgraded exhaust and a 10-speed automatic to really keep you in the power band, that whole combination was a serious upgrade for the Mustang GTs. So anything after 18, yep, I'm gonna have to go Mustang GT. But okay, after 18 with the EcoBoost, you still do get the 10-speed automatic. It's just nowhere near on the level as it is with the GT and how all those things so nicely flow together. And I'm gonna skip to when we start driving. This is ridiculous. All right, we're finally moving. So this leads us on to the 2024 model years. And honestly, because there was literally zero change with the engine, like at all with the EcoBoost, I do not see why you would buy the 2024 EcoBoost instead of something like this. Because now we're talking about saving like $15,000, $20,000, especially when you account for depreciation and all of that. You only get 5 more horsepower, and then yeah, 30 pound-feet of torque more, and an upgraded interior, but performance-wise, there's just really not enough there to justify the huge price difference. Even with the exterior design, I don't know, it's not big enough for me to be like, I gotta get the 2024 EcoBoost. This thing is, it provides literally all the same value other than the interior amenities. So but then comparing the 2024 EcoBoost to the 2024 GT, it's not even close. I mean, like I said, if you're gonna get an EcoBoost, I would look at a year more like this, maybe even 2018, so you get the 10-speed. But then again, the GT, that's where the GT becomes far more competitive versus at 15 to 17. But in the 2024 model years, the GT was one of the most fun cars I've ever reviewed on this channel. So personally, I would have to go more in that direction. But all in all, just to really sum up what we've discussed, the speed, it depends on the model year. The speed on 15 to 17s are literally the same if you tune the car. So that goes to the EcoBoost. Exterior design is pretty much the same other than the badges, which I guess, yes, a lot of people are badge people. I definitely am one. And so that, you know, something about that badge was why I put it on the pedestal. I'm like, I just want to be in it. I want to be in that thing. But it's not all that you think it is until you get to the 2018 model years, where you start talking about the 10 speeds and that car freaking moves. And you also have the option to get the fully configurable dash, or I'm sorry, gauge cluster as well. And that is a cool gauge cluster, the premium one, the configurable one. So that's a big deal. Reliability, of course, that's always going to go to the GT no matter what. But it's not like this car is so unreliable. You just only have to look at the GT. Again, when we're looking at the difference in price, it's just, I don't see the GT being $12,000 more reliable. So that's something to consider. That sun is awful. And then there's no difference in the interior, very few difference on the exterior. It's just literally the engine, and transmission's the same. So I don't know. Again, of course, now if you have unlimited money, you always go with the Mustang GT. Obviously, that's common sense. I did make an entire video on how much you should make or what your net worth should be to afford a certain type of car. Reality is, affording cars is not cheap if you're going to be smart about it. So for 99% of people, it's like, consider the Ecoboost. Seriously, even if you're not looking at Mustangs in general, start to look at the Ecoboost, especially if you're somebody that likes to modify cars. Again, be careful with how much you modify the Ecoboost. These things are not always the best. Once you start pushing more than like 360 horsepower, it starts to get a little bit sketchy, especially if you're voiding your warranty or just have no warranty in general. But all in all, I think the Ecoboost is genuinely a seriously underrated car. I guess one big thing is the hate you're gonna get, but what a stupid thing to say. Oh, that's a nice Scat Pack down there. That looks like the exact one that we reviewed, like literally to the T. Blue with all Dodge owners keep those little paint splitter protector things on there. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know I am very, very, very happy with you know, this car. So I've driven it for 70,000 miles. I've been able to move from apartment to apartment, and with driving all the GTs that I have by now, I still am like, the price you can get this car for is seriously, in my opinion, a better deal than a Mustang GT. And then that's not even to talk about the MPG. But again, if I had infinite money, yes, I'd go with the GT. I think it would start to make sense if you have like $500,000 sitting in the bank, and you're like, which car should I get? Okay, GT, sure. I mean, again, it really depends situation to situation. Like, do you have debt? Whatever, blah, blah. That's for the other video that I made. But yeah, if you care about your financial situation and you're still looking to have fun, you still want a nice looking car, another Ecoboost. The Ecoboosts are more common than GTs because they're just great daily drivers. Great daily drivers, and they're affordable. And if you're gonna get one, I don't know, I get whatever color you think is best, but I think this color breaks the most necks. It is extra. I think it was $400 extra to get this color. This color and white are my two favorites. So let me know, after everything we just discussed, which car would you get given your financial situation, or the average American's financial situation? I'll reply to any of you guys in the comments that have any questions. I'm always here to help you guys out. And thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out the other videos as well. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.